tune.
Yeah.
When you were, I mean, remember there was a whole State of the Union where there was a applause given to this individual. And so now we fast forward to the Epstein things. Like you said, there is at least 15 years worth of pictures. With a certain individual with Epstein. And so clearly there was some relationship with them. And then on top of that, just the amount of names that are linked. A lot of them we know, but then there are others that we don't know just because of the dignitaries that are in Europe and overseas and things of that nature.
Now,
well, when they first hit the news, though, right? When it first came into mainstream news, all of those people linked to it were, is this real? Is this real?
I think that if this
Matt Gates,
you talking about Bill Gates?
Gates was in
no. The congressman, remember Matt Gates?
Oh yeah.
Bill Gates' name was put up there too.
Yeah.
Now, do you think? Because I know, I almost said it. The certain individual was pushing for it to be released because it was the saying that it was a lot of Democrats that was involved.
And Clinton,
right? So now
and Obama,
So now that
Obama,
I didn't know his name was linked to Epstein.
Yeah,
was it?
Because Epstein was this player in terms of fundraising.
I sent you something, Craig. You must didn't listen to it, but it's actually a flight log. Now the flight log is public records. If you look at the flight log,
there's a lot of names.
Obama is on there. Clinton is on there. But also
ones.
There's a certain name that we're not gonna name who's missing, and we like, come on now.
See, but just because you flew over
there, broke though.
No, I'm talking about just the flight log.
But just because you flew over there to the island,
Obama was. The feds didn't charge him, but Obama was president when all that. Because I don't know if Pam Bondi is, but when they decided not to prosecute him in Florida, that was during the Obama administration.
So he was put in prison though.
Yeah.
The Orange Man.
So over on this island, they was taking little kids over to the island, and
but not
and partying.
Let's not.
What? I mean, that's what's out here.
No, wait a minute. You use kids.
14 years old.
No, kids. They're
14.
Kids.
Well, no, they're teenagers. So let's kind of
same difference, man. They kids.
No. I'd say no. Here's why I say that there's a difference, and I know people say this all the time. We throw the term pedophilia around, right? But actually, the clinical definition of pedophilia is, in peda being child, is that this is people before puberty. After puberty, it turns into something else because these are sexual adults. You become an adult when you start creating sperm and when she starts having her period. Biologically, you're an adult. You're not emotionally, intellectually an adult, but biologically, because you can reproduce children.
But you can't
that's
buy
how
beer.
they differentiate.
Right, but societal norms go against that.
Societal norm. Well, maybe,
they do, man. They do.
not.
That's what made it all so glaringly.
But what I'm saying is, when
what's
you
societal norms though? Because
you can't buy beer
that adults are not having sex with children.
Yeah,
I mean, but there was a point in time where that was. I mean, y'all just remember, y'all ridiculed me for not watching Color Purple. Them was young girls.
Good point.
No.
So it's a lot of.
I'm saying societal norms.
I'm saying that was, but
wasn't that happening in the
South? But that was a societal norm, and now just because a law was put in place, it doesn't change the fact that this happened and this was norm. Now we can say that at that time it was wrong, and so now we've matured enough as a society to understand like that shouldn't be. That happened, and so to say like that was a society, was a societal norm. People have, like he said, they had babies.
Yeah.
So they birth.
So
their beings.
in the South, I know in 20s and 30s and 40s, probably the 50s and 60s
up to the 70s.
Yeah,
age of consent.
That there was a lot of people
what
that
was
was
it
dealing
in
with the young
Georgia
kids.
with Eddie Long? The age of consent was 16.
I mean, it still is. I mean,
yeah, but in Wisconsin, it's 18.
So
you know,
mean
so
to
a lot of states are, because DC used to be 12.
Wait,
Right.
so you mean to tell me that the consent is 16, but I can't drink until I'm 21?
Right.
What sense do that
But here's
make?
the difference. I can produce a child, and you got to look at it just from the element of basic how we operate as human beings. So we procreate. When are you able to procreate? When you hit puberty. That's why when you would have bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs,
Right.
that was basically saying now you're a biological adult, and in many societies you would consider.
Well, you
an
should
adult.
be able to drink. You should be able to go out. You should be able to get your license.
Whether you're drinking a driver's license, what we have discovered now is brain development, and we understand that even though biologically you can produce children, your brain is not fully formed until you're 25. Right. So then society, look, at one point you could drink at 18. Right. Why could you drink at 18? They dropped it to 18 when people could vote, because the argument was, well, men can go to war, but you can't drink. You can be a 19-year-old fighting the war, but you can't vote. And so then that was also a political thing too, where we go in and maybe the young people, whatever party got that amendment passed, you know, we're going to be in line. And what's crazy is even though we allow 18-year-olds to vote, they still have the lowest voter participation rate, because at 18, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm out kicking it.
Yeah, I'm kicking it. Now, you got some conscious, righteous 18-year-olds, but they're the exception.
Yeah.
You know, the rule is, man, where's the next party? That's why, have you ever heard of 21-year-old talk radio? No, because when I'm 21, I want to hear music.
Yeah, I want to party.
You know, I'm not trying to sit up and have these serious conversations, you know. So I'm just saying, so when we say kids, let's say what they were. They were underage in terms of teenagers. I don't know what the just look it up. What consent is in Florida. But that's what makes it real complicated, because
like I said, the flight list is public records.
Yep.
And that's the closest thing to, the flight log. Now, that's the closest thing to an Epstein list that we have right now. But there's a lot of people on there, but also there's a particular person that's missing, which means that things have been redacted.
Of course.
Right?
Yep. Of course. So
now,
if there's no issue with the age limit, then why not release the list?
Well, and here's the interesting thing.
Come on now.
The request was
seriously.
But wait a minute. The request was
Can't
made
be that naive.
Seriously.
That you release. Well, obviously there's something in there. The request was made that you release the grand jury testimony. They can release the files. They don't need to go to court for that. That becomes the dodge, because what was ever in that grand jury, they only say they might do 10% of what's in the file, because all you have to do is get probable cause to bring the charge. That's what the grand jury does. So the fact that you're saying let's get the grand jury testimony, that ain't what DJ's concerned about. DJ's concerned about all that stuff like the flight list, like that binder that they found.
So those are the files,
letters. Right? Those are the files.
Okay.
And she could release that as I'm speaking now.
So, but didn't
redacted because they're supposed to be crime victims in there. Now, the age of consent in Florida is now 18. Now, they have something called the Romeo and Juliet law. The Romeo and Juliet law says that a minor is between 16 and 17, which provides some protection for close in age relationships between minors.
So if he declassified the John F. Kennedy files and the Malcolm X files, why won't he declassify these?
Because it's too close in the timeline. So you got to remember, a lot of it's not a conspiracy if it's found out to be true.
Right.
So, JFK, Malcolm X, Dr. King, RFK, those aren't conspiracies. It's been found out that the government has something to do with that.
Conspiracies can be true as the conspiracy theory. You can conspire. I mean,
Right.
you get charged with
Right.
conspiracy.
The theory part.
Right. It's the conspiracy theory.
Right.
And once the conspiracy has been proven, what has been very difficult with especially the King assassination is be able to connect all the dots for the conspiracy.
So here's my point to what you're saying. We've been hearing for years that the government has something to do with, let's just say, Dr. King.
Right.
And so years have gone by and drops of information have been released. So by the time that the entire truth comes out, we've been desensitized to what's going on, because we already we already knew. It's like you telling me something that I already know. Right. That's the same thing with this Epstein stuff. So it's
the deep
bits,
state part of it.
Right. Bits and pieces have been, but the entire truth isn't going to come out until years later. I mean, the play, they do the same thing over and over again. They play in our face. Remember, Keith said they play in our face, every day.
One of the great conspiracies is Julius Caesar, where the entire Senate and a couple of his friends conspired to do him in. Wow. All right, you're listening to Community Voices Friday, joined in studio by Mr. Craig Stingley, Devon Jones, DJ, the Protege, Byron, Jermaine, Clark.
It's cracking in here, ain't it?
414. Yeah, we're going to lighten it up.
It's going down.
414. It's going down. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
happens.
But we out the bed.
We out the bed. Boy, I tell you, we started talking about conspiracies with a Q. Man, it just the stuff. And another thing.
I mean, you go down the rabbit hole, man. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. It's just nowhere
all
for you to
kind of
stop.
tunnels come off the rabbit holes.
It's nowhere for you to
Remember,
stop.
Craig, when I first got here, you and I, our ongoing discussion was about absolute truth.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea of what is an absolute truth.
Mm-hmm.
Death is an absolute truth.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it gets a little murky.
I would say that depends on what you believe is true. Because you have to have a foundation from which you start. Right?
By saying it depends on.
By saying it depends on. That's not as supposed to say it is.
Right. There are things that the majority believe are true. The sun is going to rise and it's going to set.
Oh, we just had another GTO moment. The sun don't rise. The sun don't set.
No, I ain't going that deep. I'm just saying.
It's planetary rotation.
From my perspective, I'm going to go to the scripture and say that if I start there and it says that know the truth and the truth will set you free, that's an area where, we can say it's murky, but that's based on our own perception.
Yeah. All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning. You on there?
Good morning.
What's up, T?
Oh, hey, what was interesting when you guys were talking earlier about conspiracy? I didn't understand all of this stuff with Dr. King till I went to Memphis and went through the museum and then went across the street where James Earl Ray was supposed to have been when he put the gun through the window and shot him. But, okay, I said, okay, now these are true places. You are here. But then I couldn't understand, how did a guy that was a felon go from, in 2 days, Dr. King only came to Memphis because he was asked, I think he had 2 days notice. How did this guy get to Memphis, get in a certain building that just happened to be across the street from the hotel, and then he shoots him, and then he goes from Memphis to London in 24 hours. And you say to yourself, how did he do all that without somebody helping him? Which I always thought it was the FBI because Hoover hated Dr. King.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it was it's hard not to come away from when you visit the museum and visit the site of Dr. King's killing, to not come up with something, say, I don't know how these people came to this conclusion, but it sure wasn't one that I could take when me just walking through the facility and looking at all of the things that go with it.
Tyrone, I've been blessed that my mama raised me on common sense. If it don't make sense, then is usually more to that story. And so what you just said, something had to be more to that story because that don't make sense.
It might not make sense now, but upon further review and more information, there's something that no.
Sense always gonna make sense.
No. It might not. I mean, when there's this thing called the fog of war, right? When you're in the middle of it, there's a lot of things you're missing because you're more focused on the immediate, trying to survive and do what you do. And then when you come back and then you do a post-mortem, that means go and examine it after the fact, you go, oh, yeah, it's like in The Usual Suspects. All those clues were there, but we weren't paying attention to it. And then at the end, you going, oh yeah, it was right, basically in plain sight, right?
Yeah.
And our common sense, to use your terminology, was said that, oh man, this dude was not Kaiser Sose. Well, come to find out, this dude was in fact Kaiser Sose. Those of you who are fans of The Usual Suspects.
You know what's interesting too is that when we found out after that the riot in Memphis the day before was started by them brothers who the FBI hired to break the windows in the back, and you said, how in the FBI could start the riot, and they wanted to discredit Dr. King. So they paid these guys to go in and start breaking windows, and Dr. King had to, as you know, be rushed away from the parade to get him out of there. Mm-hmm. And so if the FBI was that deep in what Dr. King was doing, we know that they had his whole life on tape.
Right.
And we understand that they watched everything he did, even his phone
and heard
calls.
everything too.
Yep.
I mean, when you talking about an assassination, man, these people are trained. They know what to do. They're not, they're doing what they're doing. But I believe, here's a conspiracy theorist with a Q, is like, have you ever noticed George Floyd, Ahmaud
Arbery?
Yeah.
In Georgia.
But where was it where you see the kid come up and literally cut the hose or the cord? Or what about all these white people who all of a sudden show up for protest? These are anarchists, man. And I believe a lot of them are plants. I believe, just like Tyrone is talking about, that whole change the narrative where you can have a very peaceful march, right? A very peaceful protest. But then there are people coming in, this is a good opportunity to do violence. So what do we talk about now? It gives Fox just enough tape. Like, for example, Milwaukee, when I had the insurrection there on Sherman,
mm-hmm.
If you were from another city, you would have thought the whole city was on fire.
Absolutely.
But it was a gas station, right?
It was a gas station.
And you kept running that loop, and then everything else is lost because that image that you put out there. So it is, I think Craig was saying, there is diversion where you over here looking at this, and this is happening right here. Right.
That happened in 67. Same way in 67. I lived on the side of town, wasn't nothing. All of a sudden we started seeing all these tanks and these come out, some snipers in places. And almost got arrested in my own house because they said, you look like a sniper. And I said, I'm not a sniper. I'm just sitting down here watching our windows. You remember how you had to put Soul Brother on your windows?
Oh, that's right. And your mom was a business owner.
She had a restaurant on 24th and Walnut. So I would sit down there and watch the windows just so no crazy person came by. And I almost got arrested that night because the guy said, the only reason I didn't get arrested because I had a bologna and onion sandwich. And he said, how you get onions on your fingers? I said, man, I'm only 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so, it was all kind of stuff going on. And back then you could just disappear. I mean, nobody'd ever know where you at, including my parents.
And we're heading that direction.
You can just disappear now.
Yeah.
I know. I think if he gets that birthright citizenship crap, he trying to make some whole bunch of folks disappear, especially us.
I mean, but even beyond that, people have been disappearing before laws have been passed.
Oh, for sure, especially during the civil rights movement.
I think growing up in the 60s, you saw maybe not since 100 years prior with the Civil War where, and I was a kid, but you had a sense that this country was really coming apart at the seams and something had to be done. So the first thing was to eliminate the leadership, right? The whole cut off the head of the snake, and so you had, that was Dr. King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, what they did to the Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton, where you,
and that's why not to cut you off, but that's why I appreciate history, because and the truth tellers of history, because I wasn't an adult until I actually learned who Fred Hampton was and what he did, because it's often names like that get lost. And I always talk about my grandmother, your mom, people that were born in the South in a certain era. Those are the last of the dying breed, but they shared those stories that people like me and you can share. And so like those stories have to continuously be told, just so that the younger generation can have some sort of a full scope of just what all went down before we came here.
Well, I think that's why it's so important.
Thank you. I was going to say up south. up south experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, up south, because I remember Hubert
Up south.
Canfield, Mike McGee, Prentice McKinney, and all of the folks, the youth council or the NAACP. Man, Breyer had them folks being followed. He had they were getting arrested, and they were,
firebomb their headquarters.
Really?
yeah, this town was no different from Mississippi or Alabama back then. Because shoot, you go to do something you thought was just a demonstration. Shoot, you might get your head caved in.
Well, you know, I tell people never underestimate the power of the status quo. You know, I think we have a tendency to things don't change much. You know, change is glacial, especially societal change and changes around equity. That doesn't happen immediately. And as what was it, Frederick Douglass, power concedes nothing without a struggle. So no, I mean, there are people in power who are benefiting from the situation the way it is now.
And they say those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it, right?
Yeah, or history is prologue.
Right. But when we look at the fact that our history is again being attacked, and as DJ said, not wanting our youth to understand our history. So if we take that and, you know, fast forward to the next 20 years, and they can continually remove the things that, you know, it took us all this time to fight for.
But do you think they're concerned about our youth or the exposure to their youth to truth?
Well, it's both.
No, because I think you get more damage to what they're trying to do if our youth start to understand who they are.
No, that's a part of it. But if their youth begin to say this is wrong, that's what you saw with George Floyd, that there was this reaction, primarily among young white people, that this was wrong. So what do you have to do?
Right, but if our youth come to the place where we recognize that being smart is not being white, if we get to the place where we recognize that.
Yeah, keep going, man. Keep going.
Then that's a condition. These are the effects of conditioning. What I'm saying is that our youth have been for 100 plus years keeping things from you and help primarily who you are, where you're from, and what your history is. Yeah. And so when you get to the place where you start to understand that, no, my history didn't start with slavery on a plantation, and I can go back thousands of years, then they can't continually brainwash you to make you believe that you haven't contributed anything.
Who's ultimately responsible for teaching your people your history or
when you
history?
Continue to subject yourself to those people?
I always felt like it was us.
I think
it's like now they're trying to do away with the education department, right? For the purpose of being able to keep people dumbed down, right? And not allowing them to
You think that's directed at you?
Absolutely. And my grandchildren.
Yeah. I think that the people that's going to be hurt more by this are going to be rural whites and poor whites who benefit from it. Look, these systems were never designed for us.
All I'm saying is that, like they say, when white folks have a cold, we got the flu. And so that's going to transfer as well.
How come
to
almost
this education?
How come this administration is going after Harvard and Yale? Because they know in Buck Tussle, there's a reaction to the elitists that are at Harvard and Yale. It's an anti-education piece. Isn't it interesting that the last two secretaries of education under this particular president have no real background in education?
No, because he don't want people around him that's got experience. He wants yes people.
Absolutely.
Tyrone, to go to Keith posed the question.
The dumber he can get him, the better he's off.
Keith posed a question on whose responsibility is it to teach the history. So but that's a easy cliche answer. Ours.
No,
but what about so many of our people don't even know our history because we've just been taught so many things. Remember, I talked about years ago. Wait a minute, Craig. I talked about years ago that I had to go to college to understand and learn about the Reconstruction period. That is a pivotal part in our history. Those are things that we're not taught. So how can I really legitimately teach the history of our people if I don't even know the history.
Where
No,
did- where-
and that makes
where-
my
so-
point.
so
in
it's
that there
always
has been a
easy to say,
deliberate
"Oh,
effort
it's-"
by the powers of this country to keep us from being in a position
Right.
where we could teach our youth the things they
I
need
want-
to know from childhood and getting to the place where they can understand who they are from a historical standpoint.
Where do you go to learn things that you haven't learned and
Well,
that you didn't know existed? Where do you
Because
go?
we live in a time now where that information is available to all, right?
You're listening
Via the
to
technology.
Community
Thank you,
Voice. All right, T, thanks, man. It's Friday. It's getting hot in here. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
It's just like
Jones, DJ the Protege.
Welcome back to Community Voice. And now it's time for the Protege's perspective.
No one maneuvers through life unscathed. No matter how privileged, talented, or intelligent you may be, there will be circumstances that you could encounter that will require grace. Everyone, at one point or another, has or will benefit from others showing them grace in times where they may have been compromised, traumatized, or acted in a way that could be ostracized. It is in those times that the world can be very cold and judgmental. Breaking Bad wouldn't just be a hit television series, but it will also be a series of events that will lead one down a destructive path. In many cases, critical criticism is warranted. Whether it is what an individual says or does, heavy criticism may follow. And depending on who's offended or who disagrees with the actions, could be justified. We all know that no one is perfect. Yet when imperfection presents itself, tremendous condemnation circulates that person, group of people, and decision making. I once heard that the greatest sin is exposure. Exposure to others' faults, exposure to others' wrongdoings, and exposure to knowing another way. My way, or for what it's worth, the right way. All of these perspectives can be pretty harsh, sometimes more harsh than the actions that garnered such heavy criticism in the first place. Ministers often ask the rhetorical question, where would I be if it had not been for his grace and mercy? Many of us are able to share our stories because of the grace that was lent to us. Maturing is knowing that you're probably didn't do anything to earn grace, and it was just given to you. And so you just received it. It's often stated that hindsight is 2020. Thus, following whatever decision was made, a reflection of that decision has occurred. Upon reflection, in most cases, an alternative decision would have been made, but in reality, you can't change your past. And now this leaves you stuck with a multitude of criticism while you're trying to get past your past. In one way or another, we've all benefited from someone showing us and giving us grace. So let's pay it forward and allow the next person's story to be just as great.
Yeah, I've heard that line. The greatest sin is exposure. I've heard that before.
You have?
Yeah.
No, yeah. I pay I pay homage to you.
Attribution, man.
Yeah, I pay homage to you.
Grace.
I don't know who I stole it from, but anyway.
And the greatest sin is exposure. That's real. But I would say that I wrote that perspective just because our city it's been a lot going on within the past week, and then if you're on social media, certain people are getting worn out, and I just obviously I have the moniker that no pass is given, but in a lot of cases, grace is needed, grace is necessary, and I've been on the receiving end of grace, and I didn't do anything to receive it. It's just that it was just given to me, and I received it, and I benefited from that, and I appreciate it so much that whenever things that I disagree with, grace, I should provide that individual grace, because it is something that, you know, can help that individual move forward. You know, I heard once that, you know, people are greater than their biggest sin. You know, people are much more than their greatest sin. And so, you know, a lot of cases, some people don't even sin. It's just that they do things differently from you, and you know, we wear people out. But grace, you know,
we all sin,
right? But we gotta lend grace to one another, because you know, we all are learning. You know, you've only been 21 once. You've only been 34 once. You know, you there are so many instances that you encounter where you probably didn't expect it. And so now, you know, you're just reacting, and depending on that reaction, you know, could garner a tremendous criticism. And so, you know, and I'm not saying that, you know, things are right or wrong, but you know, just moving forward, we should lend each other more grace, because you know, I know for a fact I've benefited from it, and no telling what will happen, what my decisions will be moving forward. I may need some grace. And so that was where my head was at when I wrote the perspective.
All right, caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you on there?
Hey DJ, what's going on?
All right, yourself?
Hey, not too bad, Keith. How y'all doing?
What's happening, man?
A formula that I've found for teaching black kids about themselves, and even white kids that are around that do need to know the true history of this nation, because we call it Black history, but it's actual factual history, because the history of the top were all lies, well, mostly lies.
Mm-hmm.
PBS is a good source. They have a treasure trove of documentaries that tell the truth in detail about people like Frederick Douglass, William Lloyd Garrison, whose birthday we should celebrate instead of Abraham Lincoln. And every year, several times, Roots, which is a snapshot of the Black American experience from, as you guys were talking about, before we reached America, is shown every year. And you can look at it from a family perspective and talk about it. And that has worked for me in sparking that thought process of wanting to know the truth and being able to challenge people who are trying to miseducate you in school. I can remember arguing with teachers in high school because I sat with my family and talked about things that were going on. Because actually, when I first watched Roots, I was 9 years old, and it was actually kind of scary to see what Kente went through. And then you do see, for example, the Reconstruction period where his grandson, Tom Moore, is able to vote at one point, and then George warns them, you better watch out for the white Democrat. If you guys have watched this in detail and remember, when Chicken George was 80 or 90 years old, sitting there advising people because he had traveled the world. And so these are things that might spark you to read, and also how you speak about what's going on currently, and how we got into the position we're into around those children. So we are definitely, just with the remote control, in a position to teach our children about themselves.
Do you and I'll throw this out to everybody. You know, when you go, if you're a Jewish kid, you go to Sabbath school every Sabbath, and they talk about their history because they say never forget, never again. I know that I would think that the church, the Black church, should be in the forefront of teaching our history. And I'm gonna really be controversial now and go out to say, as much as we teach our young people Bible, we need to teach our young people history, right? I mean, I just, first of all, you have them there, right? And our history does impact how we practice our religion, right? If we weren't in the situation we were in, we probably wouldn't have the way we approach the Creator, right? So that's a great opportunity, I think, when you have these young folks there to talk about our history, that becomes real important, because ultimately the responsibility falls on us. The responsibility falls on us to do the necessary scholarship. The responsibility falls on us then to do the necessary instruction, to make sure that it's all part of. Look, if we taught Juneteenth the way we teach Christmas, the reverence that people would have for Juneteenth would change.
That's a profound statement right there.
You know, I mean, I think, you know, I think that that's part of it. So we talk about that level of responsibility, but then the level of responsibility falls on those who are in position to teach,
Right.
that they have to go learn.
Right.
And so now that becomes, well, you know, I know the Bible, and I'm saying, but the world is bigger than the Bible. No disrespect, but the world is bigger. And there are influences. Again, how I see God and how I experience God is based on my lived experience, right? So I think that could be one of the things. I know we do in Children's Church during Black History Month. We will have a real focus on that, and we go back as far as Mansa Musa.
You know, I would add though, if the foundation of what you believe is something that you've been taught or conditioned to believe, then are you teaching truth?
Well, you have to unlearn.
We talked about this.
That's what I said earlier.
You have to unlearn.
Right. But then the information is there. It's just the you know, you have this comfort level with being complacent with, okay, this is good enough. So when you say that the church is, you know, responsible for teaching history, the church would then have to go back to find out truly what is our history.
That's what I just
and
said.
there are many who don't want to do that.
And so then we deal with a certain level of ignorance, and our people perish.
Willful ignorance.
Could be. Our people perish because of what? The lack of knowledge.
Yeah. Right.
What else you got, man?
Caller.
Yes, sir.
You got anything else?
Yeah, this is for DJ as an example, because you're a little bit younger. Did anybody in your family ever play the song "You Must Learn" by KRS-One, or some of the Public Enemy songs that, you know, speak to our history around you? Just as far as hip hop is concerned,
No.
Miss
Also-
Augustine didn't she wasn't playing
No. She
Public Enemy?
No.
you never was watching BET or any of those and seen those videos as a young child.
I mean, I heard of Public Enemy just because you couldn't. I mean, you just can't go anywhere and listen to hip hop and not hear about Public Enemy. But I haven't really listened to an album or was really brought up on Public Enemy or KRS-One. Like I know I learned about KRS-One when I was an adult.
He's
You
young.
know, I didn't learn about KRS-One when I was a child.
Well, you're about 30. How old are you, DJ?
And let
32.
me do this. When he's talking about KRS-One, people, let's say post 50, how many of y'all know about the Last Poets?
Oh yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So you know,
The music I've used as
that was
well.
our
That's
generational.
Yeah.
You know, so what I'm saying is that I wouldn't be surprised that he knew, but there was a whole lot of my contemporaries didn't know anything about didn't know anything about the Last Poets. Yet the Last Poets is kind of like considered part of the foundation of hip hop.
Man, I keep forgetting that DJ is 32 because he got such an old soul.
Yeah, I thought
And he
DJ
fall
was
right
over
in
35.
line. He just
I know, don't he act 33?
he act 32.5.
37. That's why I asked that question.
32.5.
That boy old.
That boy getting up there, boy. Climbing Jacob's
What do y'all-
ladder.
What do y'all think about the point guard the Bucks have, Boye? I've been meaning to try to call and ask y'all about that. They've been talking about all these guards. Have y'all seen this dude in the summer league?
He's a monster.
Who that?
He's a monster. That guy
Boye.
that play on the summer league for the Bucks, he the point guard. Man,
Oh, he's
dude, this cat is quick.
he
plays
plays
deep.
amazing.
Boye.
Boye.
But who? Oh yeah, Boye.
Boye.
Yeah. First of all, he got a great name. What's his nickname? Is it
My nickname is Brian Garner with a jump shot.
No. They call him something. They call him
That's
something.
what he
else.
nickname him. What you talking about?
Oh, dude, why you gonna do that on? Why you gonna do that on BG, man?
I'm the first soldier. I love him. I've been knowing him since he was 10.
I know. He played with BJ though.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Brian Gardner.
Oh, Brian Garner. Oh,
yeah, he said he's Brian Garner. That boy had a handle, high basketball IQ, but that jumper, you right, man.
Magic Johnson, but just with no jump shot.
Yep. All right, man.
Wow.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Have a good weekend.
Yep. God bless y'all.
Yep. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You're on there.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my call. Assalamu alaikum to you, brothers.
Walaikum salam.
Yes, sir. I called because you all were talking about education a moment ago or something like that, to that effect. And what I was remiss to say the last time that you all were talking about education, and there were some people who sounded as if, in my opinion, that they were seeking or attempting to diminish the importance of education. Malcolm X said that education is our passport to the future. Mm-hmm. And he also said that education is preparation. Those who are prepared today will pretty much be ready for tomorrow. If you lack education, you lack the ability to navigate through a society. Mm-hmm. And if this society has tiers and ceilings and all manner of impossibilities and obstacles that Black people must overcome, undergo, get through, somehow persevere to get over, then it is of supreme importance that we are properly prepared intellectually, because you don't want a bunch of stupid people telling you, and you know that you're smarter than them. And if that person is offended because they're lackluster when it comes to intellect, that's not the smart person's problem. That is the people's problems who did not prepare you. And this is what is very, very troubling in our community. And I experienced this firsthand. I'm just thankful that I had a mother who reinforced things once I left the laboratory where they inject the needle into the Black child's head to make them think that they will never be anything, and that they should never aspire to do anything other than be some subordinate individual with his head hung, and he should not seek to attain anything when it comes to being greater than what he already is. And so if we continue as people to attempt to diminish the necessity of being educated, we are only playing into the hands of our oppressors, because they did not allow Black people to read for 300 years. And the first commandment Allah gave to Muhammad was Iqra, and that means read. The scripture says, study thyself approved. If you cannot read, you cannot study. You would just be a subject who will be moved like dust, blown into any direction, whichever the one with the wind blower decides to blow you in. And I'll go with this. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that if we do not come together, that we were going to suffer the consequences. And here we are. We are suffering the consequences of our inability to say, look, you're not capable of doing this, so why don't you sit your ass over to the side and let the one that is capable come forward and take charge of this post. Do you understand?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
No,
I think he's hitting on a very important point in that, you know, if you continue to subject yourself to what others believe or think about you, and then they become your teachers, you will only see yourself rising or achieving what they say about you. And I tell people all the time, particularly my grandsons, nobody owes you more than you owe yourself. And that the Creator has given all certain gifts and talents, ability, but without being able to read or getting the education from your people, those who look like you in particular, you know, then you'll never achieve your capability, even with the abilities that the Creator has put in you.
I don't think we did this, but I'll just say phone lines are open. 414-444-5250. Phone lines are open. Oh, the caller gone.
Well, we like an hour and 15 minutes in the program. We just letting them know.
But they know.
Well, we've been flowing, so you know what I'm saying.
I wanted to touch too on what you said about grace. Though.
Let me I'll let
ahead.
you get right back to grace. This is a great opportunity for me to make this announcement.
Put some bass in your voice, man. Can nobody hear you?
I'm sorry, but again, if you want to participate in the homegoing of Miss Rose, you can do it via link if you're not able to get to the church. And I don't know if we posted it here, but you can go to it says topic celebration of life for Miss Rose Marie Lu Hing, and you can pull that up, and that'll be tomorrow at 2. So the live stream will be tomorrow at 2, and then the if you're there, visitation is at 1, and the funeral mass is at 2. That's at St. Martin's de Porres Church right there on 2nd and Burleigh. For those y'all back in the day, the old St. E's, St. Elizabeth's.
Is Mr. Jones's services?
Mr. Jones's services is next weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you on there?
Good morning. One thing we all gotta remember: all skin folks ain't kin folks, and you're gonna have some people who are always gonna go the other direction. The only thing that you can do is deal with reality and not do fantasy thinking. Okay, meaning if they hit you in your nose, you might have to stab them through both their ankles, put 2 screwdrivers through their kneecaps, and hit them with your car. It is how you deliver it. The main problem that we have, we let fear take us over, and that's why we are falling back. Prime example, when these, national Christians or whatever you want to call them, they want to say one thing but do another. And then for black folks, sometimes they follow a certain faith. And what we as black people have to do is say, we're not going to worry about that faith, but we're going to deal with this reality today. And I don't care how it hurts your feelings. And I also feel once black people start believing in themselves, and once they realize they are the God, they are the king, and they are the law receives into the recipe, things will change. But we got to stop falling into this mindset, because, see, the mentally dead has to be mentally broken, which means you got to take them to a place where they got blood falling out their eyes and ears, and every time they fart, they blowing out maggots, and every time they talk, they got maggots rushing out their ears, their nose, their mouth. Because you got to take them to a place where they're afraid to go. And the places we've been, they ain't never been. So give them what they want. Protect yourself and speak your mind. If hurt their feelings. So what if your kids is there? They're going to hear you cuss today. They heard you tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And if you get angry enough, they're going to hear you tonight. Speak your piece. And if they kick you in your face, you kick them all over your body and you run over them with the donut tire, not the good tire. And you have yourself a good day. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
How much damage is that donut tire going to do, man? You said you wanted to talk about grace?
Yeah, I think this subject sort of lends itself towards what DJ was pointing to, in that he said extending grace. Your whole slogan about not giving a pass is an extension of grace. When you allow someone to now, I'm not saying it's, but extending grace is giving a pass to a degree.
His face turned to
right?
No, I'm trying to receive what he's saying. I'm trying to listen.
No. See, he playing. I'm serious. No. Listen. Because what we have to recognize, grace is unmerited favor, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody is not at the same level. So some people are going to fall short just because they don't have a level of understanding or that education piece. Mm-hmm. And there are times with your perspective where I felt it pointing towards is that when that happens, we need to be able, give them a pass, extend some grace so that we can help them rise up, right? Which is to me part of what Christopher's point was. And I think that oftentimes we will, just leave our people, let them be, left behind and move forward without them. And then 20 years from now, or a generation passes, and we got half our people who, as you said, don't know how to use or to navigate the society that we live in order to, make themselves more productive, right? To achieve, or even to prepare the next generation to achieve what is able or available to them.
Right.
And I just think that grace, it's said that no man is an island unto themselves, right? And so grace for us has to be able to extend to those who are missing things on the street corner,
right?
And reach back to them. One of the things I remember about Keon is that he would often say, I got to go back and undo the damage that I've done. And for us in this country, we are all part of that damage, because those who have achieved haven't gone back and pulled forward, the Sankofa piece that is a part of who we are. Those who have realized some measure of success in this society need to be willing to extend some grace and look back, and then see how we can help, whether it, exposing to the technology and the things that can help us educate ourselves, not just using these devices for entertainment,
right,
but using them, based on, because you put one of these devices in the hands of a child today, they'll learn how to navigate it. But again, what is it that they're searching for? Not a game, right? Our history.
All right.
And I'll deal with that.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
right now.
I know. I said Lillard then went back home, huh?
Yeah, man.
Bye.
Though he getting paid twice, man. Cut the check.
He getting paid twice,
Hey,
man.
cut the check, bro.
You think Holiday's gonna stay?
No,
No,
I think
no.
he don't want to be there. Holiday don't want.
He don't want to
to
be there.
Man,
He didn't want to
I
get
think
traded.
No, in Portland.
He got traded to Portland.
Yeah, so I
was
think,
I?
man, I think Holiday
don't know.
is either going to LA or
No.
to Miami.
No, I don't know, but he ain't staying there though. But he might stay there for 1 year because he got a good
He got a
because,
big contract, yeah.
and because what's called ain't gonna be playing until the following year anyway.
Yeah. But they got Scoot. That's balling, man. Scoot is really coming into his own now.
Who?
Scoot Henderson.
2 years ago?
No, he was drafted. Was it last year? Last year he was drafted last year.
Oh, they're going back.
Didn't Porzingis go to
They're going back in the
He
lottery.
said, "Oh, they going back in the lottery."
Yeah,
Well, no, they was actually saying that because they were saying that the team is actually stacked now and they're looking good for the future because with that young guy,
Stack
No,
is
no,
relative when
seriously.
you played in the
So with that-
Western Conference, man.
with that young
Hey,
center,
Yeah, they ain't
Chinese
got
guy,
they ain't got
that
a
guy, he's a
chance.
shooter.
Like
Remember,
you said,
words
like you
have
said,
meaning.
they ain't got a
Don't
chance.
say
They ain't got a
stacked
chance in the
Portland
Western
in the same
Conference.
sentence no more.
Well, no, they are stacked though.
Yeah, stacked with
Man,
draft
they ain't got a
picks.
chance. yeah, young.
Well, Man, they got Klingy now.
You all need
guys
to be
with
a
high ceilings.
You have to be a basketball aficionado to even know who they are.
Well,
First of all, I don't even know who.
they got high ceilings though. See,
Only person
They
I
got
know
who?
is Scoop.
high ceilings.
Oh, I thought you said Ben Simmons.
No, Ben Simmons.
Not
Listen,
Ben.
man. So they might as well trade him for like a ham sandwich or
Hey,
something,
Still in
man.
the league?
He shouldn't be.
Question. So who's worse, sir? Zion or Ben Simmons?
No, actually, Zion
Who's what? Repeat that question.
Who's worse, Ben Simmons or Zion?
Ben Simmons.
all day. Zion,
Zion is on the
he can
floor. He
hoop,
scored.
he can play.
And
He
not-
just got to drop that weight,
Not,
man.
not to
Yeah,
toot
yeah,
my
but-
own horn,
but-
but I've been telling y'all that Ben Simmons ain't it. I've been for years. I've been saying
That
this
is-
Listen,
over
that is
anybody
true.
that's 6'9"
That is
and that's
true.
underneath the basket and won't lay the ball up because you scared
No,
of either the court.
his
or the-
brain. It's his brain, man. It's not his
That's-
physical ability.
But that's
it's
what I'm
his brain.
saying. If you're scared of yourself, you
But-
shouldn't be on the court.
But
But guess what? Zion has not played a whole year of basketball. Dude is
Because
still a
he's been
rookie.
hurt though. He's been hurt.
Dude's still a rookie.
Listening, man.
Yeah, man. He got to drop that weight, man. He got to go, man,
And
on that
adjust how
Tom
he
Brady
plays
diet.
and how he plays.
Yeah,
And
man.
they said he got to stay away from the porno stars.
Hey, but I think they gonna trade him though.
hey, that extracurricular activity, could
Yeah,
mess
they'll
some
do
things
way on.
up.
That's good activity.
Hey.
Yeah, sometimes it ain't on the court.
Yeah.
It's off the court.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause,
so, someone just mentioned someone off the court. They would probably know more for off the court than on the court when he's talking about Tim Thomas.
Right.
He know
Oh,
more
yeah.
for his off
man.
the court exploits than he
here
was
you go.
on the court.
how about Robert Trailer?
Tractor.
Tractor Trailer was
Tractor.
always in the club. He was in the club with us, and I saw the Bucks playing in New Jersey, and I'm looking over at him like, dude, you should be in New Jersey. He at the club. He had
I
rooters
give
with
it
us.
Jason Caffey.
Jason Caffey,
He's
yep,
another
Jason
one
Caffey.
like to hang
He
out.
stayed in the club downtown. He was always in the club downtown.
He became silk.
and the people who hang out in the club, they sure got robbed in Milwaukee too.
Yeah,
Oh, we
right.
just talked about that, man. Big Dog. What was the name? Juniors.
Juniors on
Juniors.
Green Bay.
Yeah, on
Yeah, we
Green
got
Bay.
it.
Green
See,
Bay.
but a big dog used to date this chick that stayed off of 13th and Atkinson. No, shit. I mean, those are already public. No, it's
they're not
public.
there no more.
Right.
They could still be there, man.
I didn't tell the address to the house.
Ain't nobody
But she stayed on 13th to Atkinson. though.
Now
they
the
shit
inside story.
He go like, I didn't get an address.
Yeah, I didn't get an address.
You just gave all of the, what do you call it, the logistics when you line
Man,
up?
first of all,
If she's still there, shame on her.
right.
Shame on her.
That- right.
Shame
that
on
part.
her.
Big Dog that was drafted, what, 2000?
No, he was
You
drafted in
say?
92.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
Big Dog wasn't drafted in 92.
Yes, he was.
In 92?
92?
93.
No.
93, my bad.
No.
No, bro.
Yes, he was.
No,
he was in the
man.
same draft
Big
as
Dog was more like
he was in the same
Dog was
draft
like
as
96.
Jason Kidd
Big
and
Dog's like
Grant Hill.
96,
No,
bro.
he wasn't.
Hold on.
I told you, stop coming at me like
Man,
I'm
I'm a
not
Buck
that.
fan, man.
I'm a basketball encyclopedia.
Listen, man, I'm a Buck fan. Huh?
Hey, DJ, put the gun down.
Yeah.
DJ, put the gun down.
No. Don't say yeah.
Both of y'all
Don't
wrong.
say yeah.
94.
You said 92.
I said 93.
You said 92.
You said 96.
I said it was 94.
I said 95, 96.
The same draft as Jason Kidd.
I said 95. Hey, Arizona, then what I say?
Both of y'all.
Oh, Lord.
I said the same
Arizona,
draft
what I
as Jason
say?
Kidd and Grant Hill. I said
Listen,
that.
I'm sorry. I didn't want me to start a fight. Let me jump out of here.
Yeah, Dr. Me and DJ be getting into it on Fridays, man.
No,
Nobody passed. Not even myself.
The crazy thing, they both was wrong.
Right.
I was closer than you. Well, you both were in the right decade.
Hey,
You both were in the right
hey,
decade.
listen, on The Price is Right, if you go over, you lose. If you under, you still in the money. So I was under.
Make it up rules.
There he go. Come on, man.
Make it
How
up
you
the
gonna
rules.
So now y'all ain't never watched
Make
The
it up
Price
in
is
the
Right.
rules.
So y'all ain't never watched The Price is Right.
Terrible.
Bob Barker.
Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yes,
Good
sir.
morning,
Mr.
you
Parris,
on it.
I called back. There's 3 points that I wanted to state before I say, like, I won't call you guys again. You were talking about grace, and grace is a period of time that is given to anyone or anything to rectify something that's gone wrong. If you late on a bill, they might give you 7 to 10 days to correct it, and then the penalties come after that. So with us and in the Nation of Islam, we understand that what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan represents is a period of grace that is not to exceed, I think it's 10 to 17 years. And now that the minister is not speaking as much as he has, he said that he would be quiet and let God talk. Now and so our grace with this world is up. Grace is not infinite. Grace is just a short period of time for you to be put in the valley of decision to make a decision as to which way you might want to go. So grace, that's why we see a lot of the things that is going on. You talked about grace, and this is a correction for when I was speaking about Brother Malcolm X. At the conclusion of his statement, he said that the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's a gang thing, right? I know all about that. But anyway, so that if you're not properly prepared, you're going to fail at whatever it is that you do that you should have prepared for to perform exceptionally or to the liking of whatever audience that you might be in front of. Grace, Malcolm X, and then there was a third thing, and I'm kind of like forgetting what it was that I called back for. So when it becomes when I regain my thought, maybe I'll call you guys again next week. But just think about it: our people perish for the lack of knowledge. Being a dummy is rewarded, and education is ho hum. Being a go along to get along with everyone thing is applauded. And to be the most stupid person in a group of people, it seems like that if you don't realize that you are a laughing stock and you are the folly of these people who you might find yourself in, you will come to understand that either a brutal experience, by either being maimed or even being incarcerated. The dummy never lasts long, but the smart one can stay a little longer because intellectually he or she is a lot stronger, if that makes sense to you.
But you know
Thank
what?
you.
But
Yes,
Christopher,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna disagree with the dummy don't last long. That's the thing about grace, right? That it doesn't you have people who have done everything wrong most of their life and they live to be old. And you have people do it right and they die young. So it's kind of hard you would like to think that, oh man, but no, I know a lot.
I mean, nothing is absolute,
well, he said death is absolute. And in chemistry, there are absolutes. So I emphatically disagree with that statement altogether because that's not a scientific statement with regard to accuracy or precision.
What was it? Whoa.
The absolute.
Wait
absolute is
a
the
minute.
term. Absolute 0, absolutely cold.
I said that death is
There are no absolutes.
Death is an absolute.
Right. But you said also before that there are no absolutes. So that
no. I couldn't, because then I would kill my argument. If I said that if there are no absolutes, then it couldn't be death. Death is an absolute. What I did say that everything else may or may not be. So getting to what is absolute
or may not.
There you go.
May not be are two vague statements. That means you are indecisive.
Because sometimes truth and reality can be very vague. So when we talk about truth can be relative. Truth is who's telling it. Truth it can be based on fact.
And then there's exceptions.
Yeah, and I'm saying, but this has not been contradicted by time nor science. Death is an absolute.
Absolutely, because no scientist can revive the dead because he does not have the ability to. Because he's not
an exception to the rule.
He or she is not the creator or the authenticator or author of life. We provide sparks. The sperm that we carry is fertilizer for an egg. We do not give the spark. The spark of electricity that runs through us. That's why they shock you when you die and about to die or have a heart attack or something. But they're trying to regenerate that electricity. That's why when it's wintertime and you touch something and you get zapped, you have 50,000 volts of electricity per cubic for every cubic square inch of your skin on our bodies. We are electrical beings, or we are encapsulated organisms that are ran by electricity, if that makes sense.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know this is going to be on the test, right?
Well, let me know so I can study.
Hey, we studying now.
Right.
That was an excellent point, though. The ability to achieve your capability.
Yeah. And I think that many of us, you said something that to thy own self be true. Like know yourself. We're uncomfortable sometimes knowing, we know parts of us, right?
Yeah.
And then it gets to what DJ is saying. That's why we spend so much time camouflaging. Exposure is the greatest sin.
Like
right?
They say, the truth is the most difficult thing to deal with and the easiest thing to deal with that simultaneously.
Right. Because depending on the truth.
Right.
You talked about
you look
knowing
in the mirror and you either tell yourself the truth or you tell yourself a lie.
You talked about knowing yourself, and the over majority of the conversation outside of my perspective, education. That's a different type of education. That's some real education to understand and know yourself. And a lot of those things that we do, it's just habit. But sometimes we don't dissect why we do what we do, and and then from there understanding, was this something that could have been avoided? Was this the air quotes, was this the right decision to make? All of those things that comes through a real education of self.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You on there?
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to wish Mr. Parris a happy belated birthday.
Thank you, sir.
And also, you mentioned people that shares that day with you. I'd like to add a couple other people. Mrs. Edith Green Brown, your relative, and Miss Jimmy S. Qualls, another relative.
That's right. That's absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
And your birthday.
Another thing about this thing that went on Friday with the little young man, the kidnapping. These people better stop smoking so much weed and watching so many of these movies. They think they're gangsters. So they better wake up and smell the coffee.
Yep.
All right, have a good one.
All right, appreciate you, man.
But that's why people say, therapy is important, because you just unpack what you do, why you do it, and
because I got
understand
high.
who you are.
Because I got high. Because I got high. I was gonna pay my child support, but I got high.
You definitely need some therapy. Hey,
priorities out of order.
Hey, child support don't play.
You know, Dr. Joy DeGruy said, step outside the frame and look at the picture. And in doing that, so, I think you get a clearer perspective of all of the things you're dealing with. Back to the truth piece, the grace piece, things that Christopher, was touching on. When we consider the picture that we've been, imposed into throughout our history here, we step outside that frame and look at that picture. It is one that has shown us resilience, and it has shown us a level of just debaseness as well, because we give up, right? There's some who give up. There's some who just seek to say, no, I won't quit. And this prevailing thought that, you are a people who have not had a contribution. It oftentimes takes control of who we are and causes us to continue to follow that track.
Oh man, let me do this. Joe's Cafe. I don't know. Oh man,
That's my joint right there.
Yeah, buddy.
Matter of fact, I'm going there when I leave from here.
Is that look like the patty melt? Oh man,
Yeah, that's the patty melt. Joe's Cafe.
Yeah.
Fire.
Oh man, I was just telling my nephew, we went there.
Ooh, bubbles.
No, man, but I got a
Joe's Cafe.
Joe's Cafe right there on 35th. It goes back 30 years, man. They got new owners now, but it goes back 30 years. Right there on yeah, right. Because that's where we did our wedding planning.
Okay.
Right there, Joe's, and I've taken my nephew. As a matter of fact, me and Lamar was talking about that when I took him over there, and he got this meatloaf dinner that he could eat for 2 days. Oh, by the way, and that's where I go every Saturday, Lisbon Cafe. You know what? It might be in here.
You're giving out all your spots. They're gonna come looking for you. They're gonna come looking for you, man. Caller, thank you for your patience. You on there? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You on there?
Yes, I just have a question just in regard to. Could you clarify what you mean by exposure is the greatest sin? I mean, it sounds catchy, but isn't a sin something that's done against humans or against how people perceive God? So
No, it's just saying that we sin a lot, but it's when it's exposed to other human beings that it becomes a problem.
So it's not really that it's a greater sin then.
No, it didn't. No, and I put in quotation marks, but if we don't know you sinning, for us it ain't a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Once I know you sinning,
or
then
how
it becomes
you
a problem.
sinning,
right?
Okay, so DJ, when you were including that in your perspective, could you just clarify for a moment how you were explaining that? Yes.
Yeah, so I explained that and this was in reference to grace. So it's when we see or hear about what one has done, it is then that tremendous judgment and criticism comes about. And so people sin differently from you, things that you don't know about that has come to light. Now it's open to criticism. And so what I was saying was that, when that happens, grace should still, be present and relevant, just so that we can assist in the uplifting of that individual, and not contributing to that individual's, spiraling downfall.
Okay, all right. Then I hear the music. I just want to say that there is a truth. I think that we still need to continue to evaluate, because sometimes we seem like we speak of truth as being relative, but there should be a certain thing as the truth, and then yes, facts and data and all of that may have a degree of truth. Information has a degree of truth, but I think we should always try to understand and accept and seek for whatever is the truth. Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, DJ, thank you. Craig, thank you.
Thank you.
Byron, thank you. Jermaine, thank you. Clark, thank you. Listeners, callers, we thank you. The good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody on Monday. Y'all have a safe weekend and go from this place in peace.